is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. How y'all do? Ooh, nice and blue.
Doing good. Thank you.
Azure.
Yes.
Looking good. And you as well.
Oh, thank you. You're looking great yourself.
Thanks. Cherry bomb the whole thing. Here we go. All right. We've been talking a lot about the war over in Ukraine, but today we wanted to focus on some stories and videos from a little closer to home. So first up, in Texas and Oklahoma yesterday, there were some devastating tornadoes. And a quick warning to our viewers, some of this video is disturbing. Oy, these are always hard. Check out this footage. People at a Walmart in Texas run for cover as the violent storm tore through the parking lot. The store employee is yelling for people to run as fast as they could as debris flew through the air. More severe weather is expected today in the South. What would you do if you were in this type of storm, and why do you think we're seeing so many more?
Look, I'm not walking down that climate change. Erica, that little climate change conversation, she just dangled it out like some keys to a fancy luxury car. I'm not doing that, but I will say this. It is interesting to me because we kind of had this conversation when it came to CPR. Remember we had that conversation with Dr. Coley? And I was like, why don't I really know CPR like that? Why aren't I sure that I can do the Heimlich maneuver, like these kind of basic life-saving things? I think, especially Midwestern kids, like I should kind of know exactly what to do in a tornado. I've been in some bad weather. I think I might have been in like one that was close, but like I don't really know what to do. I would just run into Walmart, but I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of glass and things that can fall on you, so I'm not sure. Especially if I have my kids or you had your Casa kids with you. Like it bothers me that I don't know exactly what I should do.
Right, and that's the thing too. It's like last year, I remember I woke up in my hometown, where I went to like junior high and high school. Was trending, and I'm like, what? That's weird. And it was because a tornado touched down, and it was a pretty devastating tornado. And I just thought, my first reaction was, my entire life, I grew up, for the most part, doing these tornado drills. I remember hearing the tornado alarm, siren going off, and it got to the point where nothing had ever happened, that I firmly believed nothing would ever happen.
Right, sure.
So the idea that it happened right where, my family home used to be, was like mind-boggling. But there are places all over the country where this is like very much, this isn't a conversation they're having. They know exactly what to do because it's affected them in that way.
Yeah, exactly. We got Aaron writing in. It's supposed to hit in New Orleans as well. I'm staying inside. So it's just, we give our prayers to all you all. We know we have viewers in Texas, Oklahoma, New Orleans, so we are giving our prayers there. In Miami, they declared a state of emergency, have started a curfew. Now, it's because of a spring break crowd and a violent weekend, including 2 separate shootings and 4 police officers injured. Check out this video the city's police union posted that showed the spring break crowd rushing police vehicles. They said, quote, "The party needs to end." Has spring break gotten out of control, or is this because of COVID and we're just excited to be out? Or is there tension with police? Let's be honest.
Or is it that we're 1,000 years old? I think that might be it too. I think spring break has always been wild. There's been movies about spring break.
Oh, you mean we're like, how dare they?
I think now that we look at our 40s, I'm in my 40s, and I look now, I'm like, wow, that's really dangerous. Wow, they shouldn't be hanging off the balcony like that. Wow, she shouldn't be drinking that bottle of vodka straight to the face like that. But when you're 19,
but did you rush
Miami,
police cars? That seems a bit more violent. The shootings, that's upping the ante.
Is it? See, here's the thing, and Al, I don't want to step on your point because you always make this point, and I think it's such a great one when we're looking at the aesthetics. You talk about when a college football team wins, or, when we're in these big college towns and there are tens of thousands of people on the street. They're standing on awnings. They're they're overthrowing vehicles.
Things,
So it's like, okay, is it spring break that's the problem, or is it that we don't constantly implement these rules and protocols for every single time we have an issue with crowd control? It makes people think that if it's okay for the goose, it's also good for the gander.
I've never known what gander is.
It's a bunch of geese, right? Am I making that up?
I think that's a flock.
Oh, well, now we're done.
I think that's
that was all I had.
I know.
Yeah, it's a weird
Do you
situation.
think it's anything to do with COVID? Anything to do with the pent-upness of being inside for 2 years and then being like, Miami?
I would think that it's like this quite often. I mean, I lived in Miami for 10 years, and spring break was it was always like this. I mean, there's something that I've said a lot, Erica and Tori, and it's always like we go after cities like New Orleans, Miami. People talk about the violence in Mexico, all these kinds of things. And Chicago, obviously, there's always these things, but I'm like, yeah, sometimes there are problems there because it's fun there.
Yeah,
and
I
a
know
lot
what you
of
mean.
people are there. So when there's a lot more people, there's going to be a lot more partying, which is going to lead to a lot more arrests, and it's going to look crazy on a sheet. But we have all decided there are destinations where people enjoy hanging out and letting it all go, especially after a 2-year COVID lockdown. And Miami's going to be there. New Orleans is going to be there. Cancun's going to be there, so like let's not act surprised.
Yeah. The shootings scare me, though. I hope that gets
Well,
taken care
of course, yeah.
Yeah. Also, can I say Miami?
No.
Okay.
Why would you say that?
Just because, like, I really wanted to, and I've never been.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, no.
We
Never.
can tell.
Yeah, we can tell. Yummy. Okay. Finally, in Los Angeles, oh my Lord, I saw this yesterday. This video of a Tesla jumping in intersection has gone viral. So the Tesla launched several feet into the air, landed on the other side of the street. It ends up hitting 2 parked cars. Now get this, police are looking for the driver of the rented vehicle. Now, the Tesla didn't fare too well from the looks of it. The entire front end was completely ripped off, and some locals are upset not only because their cars were hit, but also because of the attitude of the folks doing it. They just leave this mess behind, and everyone just sort of scattered.
This has happened twice on my block. Not the actual jumping of the vehicle, but where a vehicle has come barreling down the road. One actually hit a car that was parked, and the other one nearly hit pedestrians that were on the sidewalk,
like speeding
in front of my house. Like, I heard it. I looked at my video footage because, you know, I'm all good. I'm all about.
She's all about ring people.
And it was crazy. People, like, first of all, a lot of these cars are stolen.
Right.
So many stolen vehicles lately. But the one that actually came down and veered off and hit the car that was parked in front of my neighbor's house, it turned out that that car that had been parked there apparently since November was stolen as well.
Oh, geez.
So, yeah, I think a lot of people have just lost their minds. There's a lot of stolen vehicles, and why do they care if it's not their property?
I have a question. Don't you feel like Tesla has cameras inside? I feel like Tesla of all cars would be able to record who was in the vehicle.
Well, I guess we know. They said it was rented.
Yeah,
it's just so strange. And as Erica's sitting here talking about stolen cars, I'm like, if only I could have. I wish I could understand what you're talking about. As I got the report back from my stolen car this morning.
Yeah.
And before that, when I was walking home one day, I wasn't on the noon show for DBL. I'm walking home. Everybody knows I live close, and I see a Jeep Cherokee doing maybe 65 down this quiet side street. I then see a 35-year-old young woman chasing that car.
Oh, my gosh.
She had gotten out of her car to give somebody a letter. Somebody jumped in, stole her car. And 2 weeks later, my car was stolen. I talked to the tow truck driver. He says that that's pretty much all they do is return stolen cars or take stolen cars to the impound lots. There's an epidemic going on of people doing things like this, trying to go viral on the internet and then just dumping the car. It's happening. You heard the anecdote she just told. I know of 3 stolen cars in the last 3 weeks.
Wow.
Something is going on. Absolutely.
Wow.
Then didn't you have your catalytic converter?
I had my catalytic converter stolen from my Prius. Mm-hmm. That was a mess.
Yes.
Coming up on DBL.
We'll talk about that story, and we should have led with that story.
Yeah, that was the worst ending. I'm so sorry. Author Kimberly Yolanda Williams.
They stole my mirror.
They stole my Prius. How her book is helping bridge the gap between cross-racial friendships. It's an amazing interview. And the first black woman to be nominated for the U.S. Supreme Court. She will face some really, really tough questions today. How will she do in the hot seat? Stay tuned for that.
Closed captioning provided by
Okay, so Aaron says, I think they're giving so much attention because it's a Tesla. This has happened to so many other times in garbage cars. That's not nice.
Wow.
If it's not a Tesla, it's garbage. No, but is that, you think it's because it was a Tesla and like
I don't think
There was people with like cameras.
Well, the thing about the Tesla, and this is something that I found out because my buddy has an Alfa Romeo, and he was like, the only car that, this is weird, but that people don't street race is a Tesla because it's not a combustion engine. It's basically a computer, so it goes 0 to 60 immediately, so you can get up to speed very quickly with a Tesla. So I assume that's where it's coming from, is because it goes.
Oh, you mean it can get
it's
that
like
momentum.
a computer. It doesn't have to be, you know, like you shift gears in like a regular car. Like a Tesla's a computer. It just starts. And so yeah, that's why people don't street race Teslas. It's not, like any muscle car, it'll dust. So like it's a weird. It's the perfect car if you're going to be doing something super irresponsible and dumb. And like, how long until like there's a family of 3 getting in their car down there, and we're doing that story? I mean, it's just a matter of time. It's the wreck. I read this article in The Atlantic about this person who was saying, do we take driving too lackadaisically? And I never thought about that, but he's like, he's been in 2 terrible accidents. It's mentally affected him. Everybody I know has been in a bad car accident, or like, it's a weird thing, but we just kind of casually.
And then this whole thing with the hands-free driving, which like is really freaking me out. I just saw a commercial where they're like, have you seen it? They go like, we will, and the whole idea is that the driver doesn't have the hands on the wheel. And I'm like, who is asking for this information? Also, on Federal, where I live off of Federal, they have cruising, where they drag race, and then you can hear them vroom, vroom.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
People try and race me all the time. I'm like,
Oh, I bet they do.
Welcome back. Today is day 2 of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation hearing. She is the first black female to be nominated to the Supreme Court, and today she's facing questions from senators. Now, in her opening statements yesterday, she stressed her history as an independent thinker. Take a look.
I have dedicated my career to ensuring that the words engraved on the front of the Supreme Court building, equal justice under law, are a reality and not just an ideal.
Like most things on Capitol Hill, which is my hometown, it all comes down to politics. So what are Republicans saying about Judge Jackson's nomination? Take a look at what Senator Ted Cruz said yesterday.
No one is going to inquire into your teenage dating habits. No one is going to ask you with mock severity, do you like beer? But that's not to say this hearing should be non-substantive and non-vigorous.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a dog whistle, and it obviously has to do with Kavanaugh and the line of questioning that he was asked. No one also accused her of inappropriate sexual misconduct, and that's how that line of questioning started.
Yeah.
But what she will have to answer questions about are asking about the history of how she came to be in this position. And let's be clear, generally when we talk about pedigree in this country, it has to do with what your ancestors did from generations ago and how they built the foundation of America. And generally, that's a very white conversation. You're speaking about a woman, Judge Jackson, who has all of the boxes checked.
Yes.
When we talk about Kavanaugh, if we want to make that just comparison, he has 3 boxes checked. She has every single one checked, and this is what I mean. She was in public high school educator, Ivy League law school, Supreme Court clerking, public defender, sentencing commission, a district judge, and a court of appeals judge. Out of those, Kavanaugh had 3. So yeah, the line of questioning might look a little different, but also I don't remember him being asked about his LSAT scores, which is interesting because that type of pedigree that Judge Jackson has, you would think that that wouldn't even be a question, but it is. And why? You be the judge.
yeah. I mean, this is where we are. This is one of the most qualified human beings that we'll ever see. I think about how quickly the Amy Coney Barrett, nomination was rushed through. They had their own agenda and they got their job done. That's on them. Good on them. They got their person through. But when we do look at candidates, I think that Judge Jackson should be the bar, the standard for what we're talking about when we're talking about a lifetime job that will affect everybody at some point in this country. So when we start looking at, we're not going to ask you about your beer, or that's a nod to his base. This is performative for him, but I think we as the people need to always remember that, like, at the end of the day, these are going to be the people we have to answer to and have to answer to us, and we make sure we put the most qualified people in there. And she, without a doubt, is. It's like, it's offensive to even really dig too deep. She is unbelievable on paper. One of the most impressive people I've ever seen.
I totally agree. She also said what I thought was to her kids, I'm sorry if I wasn't there a lot to my girls, and she was open about how hard it is to being a working mom, and that was so relatable.
How many parents?
Oh my gosh, and she said it openly. I was just not there enough, but look at her career and look where she is. It's an honor. Coming up on DBL, our interview with author Kimberly Yolanda Williams, how her book is helping bridge the gap between cross-racial friendships. Stay tuned, it's a good one.
Seeing a lot more of these when the pandemic began. Those QR codes, the easy contactless way to access menus, meetings, and now charities. But our experts say after you click on it, use a critical eye to follow where the code goes. As the crisis in Ukraine continues, social media feeds have flooded with QR codes that send you to links to support Ukraine. But how do you know which ones are legit? Let's verify.
You don't want to be just scanning any QR code in this case.
Our sources are Kelsey Coleman from the Better Business Bureau, the Federal Trade Commission, and the Federal Bureau of Investigations.
Here at the Better Business Bureau, we know that scammers follow the trends. They're seeing that QR codes are popping up. They're easy to use. People can easily just grab their phone. But what scammers love about them is that they hide the actual URL that they're directing the consumer to. And that's a problem because we are always urging people to make sure that that URL is legitimate, and it's hard to do when you're using a QR code.
Coleman went on to say your best bet is to go directly to the source's website and look for the warning signs, spelling mistakes, error messages, and pop-ups. The FTC also issued some tips on giving to Ukraine and says look at the fees and the timing, especially if you're donating through social media. And the FBI says don't download a QR scanner app because most phones have one built in through the camera. And don't make payments through a site you got from a QR code. Donate directly on the website. Now, another point to consider is where you find the QR code. For example, if it's sent in an unsolicited email, a text message, or a flyer, those are big warning signs, our experts say. With Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
They are letters of love and anger, real-life stories of racial biases between women. Kimberly Yolanda Williams has been a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant for nearly 20 years, and earlier we spoke with her about her book, Dear White Woman, Please Come Home.
Kimberly, thank you for coming onto our show to talk about this.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so first and foremost, what was the springboard to write this book?
The springboard, I will tell you, was anger. I was at a workshop for Black women and white women to come together and to heal and connect. And we did an activity right at the end of the workshop where Black women and white women would sit kind of knee to knee. This was pre-COVID, of course. And the Black woman would share a truth and tell the white woman why she hadn't shared it previously. And the white woman had a chance to respond to the Black woman. And most of the time, the white women responded that they didn't know. They didn't know what Black women were going through. And I was fired up thinking, how could you not know if we're on YouTube, if we're in the newspaper, we're on TikTok, like, how could you not know? And so I went home and I said, you know what? I'm writing a book so that white women will never again say they didn't know. And that's what I did. Here we are 4 years later.
Dang. Kudos. I want to read every single page and just be a better ally.
Absolutely. All right, what do you hope, really your hope, not just like a little hope, but what's your deep hope for the takeaway for white readers, but also for Black readers? Could you give me both on those?
Yes, I think about Black women first, of course, because I identify, but really, I hope that Black women read the book and say, I see myself, I see my mom, I see my neighbor, I see my grandmother, and I feel validated. And just 2 days ago, a Black woman wrote to me on LinkedIn and said, I feel validated, I feel seen. My hope for white women is that they realize it's not as hard as it seems, that with these little steps that, I provide in the book, they could just make a few little changes and signal to women of color and to Black women specifically, I'm your ally.
Yeah.
I want to do this work with you. I want to support you.
Wow.
Well, Kimberly, let's talk about microaggressions, because your book lists 40 examples between you and white women. And, I have to tell you personally, people always think it's the, person who's being very overtly racist that really hurts me. It's not that. It's the people who are trying to show allyship, but they're not really processing what that necessarily means in action. So can you give us some example of how microaggressions have happened for you?
100%. And I agree with you. You're spot on. It's not, for me, it's not the KKK, right? It's the person that is my friend that is tripping up over their words and their actions that harm me. And so I think my most common microaggression that I experience, the two most common are my hair. Is my hair real? Is my hair, how long did it, did you grow, one of my favorite, did you grow your hair overnight? And the second one I would say is the assumption that I don't belong. And that's, I get the question, people don't know by looking at me that I speak more than one language. And so I get the question a lot, what are you? And what do you mean, what am I? I'm a human being just like you. I just happen to be bilingual. So I mean, those questions of do you belong here are probably the most hurtful for me. I've been accused of being a janitor at an organization. So, are you the janitor? Can you show, are you the, at Target shopping and I don't have on red and khakis, and can you show me where to get X, Y, and Z, And I'm like, I don't work here.
Right.
And very quickly, I just want to ask this. Like, if you're a white female viewer watching right now, they might say, well, I get what you're saying, but how can I help? How can I tell if I'm doing a good job? Like, what's the first step to make sure that I'm being a good ally?
Yes. First is to let go of zero-sum thinking, right? There's no such thing as either you're good or you're a bad ally, right? Most of us are somewhere in between. And so I think that we have to do a deep dive on our biases that we have, because that's where our microaggressions stem from. So we've got to sit down and say, what are the biases that I've been socialized to have in the community that I grew up in, because we all have them.
Exactly.
And if we can be honest about the ones that are living in our subconscious, we can get ahead of them and we can prevent microaggressions. But most of us don't take the time to take inventory.
And get Kimberly's book.
Yes.
Yeah. I cannot wait to read this. Thank you, Kimberly. To continue this conversation, make sure that you too get a copy of her book. You can also visit engagingacrossdifference.com. Kimberly, we appreciate you. We'll be right back.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
It can feel downright painful to fill up these days. The national average price of a gallon is well over $4, and that's enough to make some people think twice about their gas-powered cars, while others claim it's still cheaper to drive a gas car. Let's break it down to cost per mile. Is it cheaper to go 1 mile in a gas-powered car than an electric car? Our sources are the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the U.S. Department of Energy, GasBuddy.com, and the California Air Resources Board. To keep things simple, we're going to look at national averages for both gas and electric cars. First, gas cars. The EPA says the average gas car gets just under 26 miles per gallon in 2021. GasBuddy estimated the national average price of gas on March 21st was $4.24 a gallon, which means it cost about 16 cents to go 1 mile. Next, electric cars. The DOE estimates the average electric car has a 66 kilowatt-hour battery and can travel 200 miles on a full charge. A study of electric vehicle owners' charging habits by the Energy Department found they pay an average of 15 cents per kilowatt-hour to charge. The California Air Resources Board says that would mean it costs roughly 5 cents to go 1 mile, meaning it's false that it's cheaper to go 1 mile in a gas-powered car than an electric car. So Where does some of the misinformation come from? We use national averages to do our calculations, but it comes down to how you're charging your car. For example, a Fox Business article with the headline that gas cars can be cheaper than electric ones looked at the cost to exclusively use fast chargers. These are the most expensive charging scenarios and can cost 3 times more than charging at home. Fox Business acknowledges at the end of their article that charging at home, as most drivers do, would make electric cars cheaper than gas cars. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
It can sound so distant, so abstract, interest rate hikes coming from the U.S. Treasury, but as our experts verified, you could start seeing impacts in your bank account this month. Let's verify. What are the 3 big ways interest rates affect Americans? Our sources are 2 economic experts, Bill Hoagland from the Bipartisan Policy Center and Peter Raschuti from Tulane University. To start, let's explain what the interest rates are that are going up.
Which is a rate at which the Federal Reserve loans the money to its member banks.
The interest rate on your loans uses it as a baseline, so when it goes up, all new loans go up. And you'll see it in 3 big ways.
They went on a loan to get a car, they went on got a mortgage.
First way is an increase in new loans, so new car loans and mortgages. The second way is credit card debt. That'll go up.
Absolutely. Now is the time to pay it off if you can do it.
And the third is that the rise of interest rates can rattle the stock market.
There's certain kind of stocks that get clobbered when interest rates go up, and certain ones don't. And the ones that get clobbered are growth stocks.
Any market expert will tell you this is a delicate balancing act. Raising rates can upset the market, but on the other hand, inflation is bad for costs. And this pandemic-related economic recovery is uncharted territory, so we'll still have to see how it plays out. With Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back. When you're out of town, skipping the gym can be so easy, but picking up that exercise routine doesn't have to be a drag. There are simple ways to work out anywhere. That's today's Focus on Fitness presented by QB. According to a personal trainer, the most beneficial workout that you can get in is 10 to 15 minutes in breaking it up into 1 lower body exercise, 1 upper body exercise, and core work like push-ups, squats, and crunches. To get the most out of your workout, schedule your workout, warm up, add a weight like a pillow or a book, have fun, and cool down at the end. QB's a great way to get some quick exercise. Try their under-desk elliptical at home. Call 1-800-556-2089 or visit QB.com to learn more. We also want to give, let's be honest, a big DBL shout out to our very own Lindsay Granger. She is guest hosting The View, if you did not know, today and tomorrow, and we could not be more proud of such a deserving human being on earth, and may she giggle and make them all smile.
She is shining.
Shining,
yes.
shining. DBL's new every day. We will see you same time, same place tomorrow, and don't be a hater. That's my new sign off.